Hi, this is Kai, and this is going to be another comic case study. Now, I know it's been a while. I haven't done another case study since, last year? Need to get the joke out of the way or else, somebody else is going to say it. But anyways, the comic that we're looking over today is the last of the Transformers Origins of Megatron series. This is book number 4, and I got cover B here. A really nice cover. I know the main cover also looks pretty cool, but this one is also really nice as well, so I can't really dog on it too much. And I'm really excited just to get into this comic book because I've been loving this series so far. It's been a fun ride, and let's finally get to the climax. So as we were leaving off before, the Decepticons were captured by the Autobots' enforcers and were put into containment cells. And when we left off, Starscream is getting taken out of that containment cell, like they're talking about, like they're diseased. Isn't that topical? But Starscream is getting taken out of that cell to be put in front of the council because he said he had something to say. So let's see what could possibly happen in this book. This book was released on October 24th in 2007. And now we have a lot of the usual suspects here when it comes to this comic's credits. So, of course, it was written by Eric Holmes. The art was done by Alex Malin. The colors were done by Josh Prez, Mark Bristow, and Gabe. I knew I was going to mess up on that name. Gabe Elite. I'll put his name up there anyway. Sorry. And lastly, edited by Chris Ryle. We start off with Starscream being escorted from Kaon's holding cells by Autobot security. Starscream stands before the council and delivers this message. Everything that has happened is the council's fault as punishment for their sins. Is soon joined by Soundwave, and they destroy the council. Okay, pause. So, obviously the most important thing that has happened in this comic so far is that the rebellion has started, and obviously Starscream and Soundwave are going to go break out the rest of the Decepticons. But did you know there's actually an interesting detail that was brought up a little bit later after this comic was published? You see, John Barber, who's a freelance comic book writer for IDW, said that the body that Starscream was talking to was actually Kaon's council. But Barber would later retcon this, saying that this was actually the Senate that had flown to Kaon to personally see Megatron's captivity. This doesn't entirely fit because there are some chairs empty, and obviously the council are a lot of people. But actually, Starscream even sneers at these chairs. We could say that these chairs that are empty could have been Shockwave and Atlas, who were part of the Senate. Obviously, Shockwave wouldn't be able to make it because he defected, and also Atlas wouldn't be able to make it because he was physically prevented. So we could say that Starscream, who is known to have some sort of hand in the council, could be sneering at their absence. Following Megatron's plan, Starscream releases all of the inmates, and the criminals with prior associations were recruited to Megatron's now growing army. Soundwave provides armaments. And this is where we get the first look in this continuity at Megatron's iconic cannon, which was introduced by Starscream. Now, the canon makes its own introduction by Megatron using his new weapon to blow a hole through the wall and giving one last destructive order, saying, "All of this burns." Can we just admit how incredibly ironic it is that it's Starscream that introduces Megatron's iconic cannon, which he will probably most likely regularly get shoved in his own face and threatened with death by? We see Skywarp and Thundercracker firing upon an airborne vessel, sending it crashing down on an inhabited area of Cybertron's high class. Okay, so in this moment in the comic, we see Thundercracker express a bit of misgivings about shooting down the ship with Skywarp. Of course, Skywarp just says, "Well, don't think about it, just do it." Obviously setting the mindset of a soldier, saying, "Don't think, just follow orders." Now, this little bit of characterization is like Marvel Cinematic Universe levels of setup. Like, just saying, like, this one little thing that's kind of just like passed off or like in the background becomes a huge part of Thundercracker's story. Because if you do not know, Thundercracker, like, I don't remember if he ever really joins the Autobots, but he does eventually leave the Decepticons because he doesn't believe in their ways anymore. This little bit of characterization in the very beginnings of the IDW continuity is so important for later on. I'm impressed by this level of characterization. Like, I wasn't expecting this. Like, even though, IDW has really good comics, I was not expecting this level of characterization so early on. While the mayhem is happening outside, Soundwave meets with his boss, Senator Ratbat. Senator revels at the fact that he is the one that armed Megatron's army, but also admits to arranging Megatron to be removed from the mining operation originally in the beginning of the comic. Ratbat regrets this great mistake, and with all the destruction happening outside, he starts embezzling what he can before fleeing. Soundwave has other plans. Soundwave shoots Senator Ratbat right through the chest, and while stealing Ratbat's ill-gotten gains, he finishes off by sealing Ratbat's spark into a new cassette form. That's how we get Ratbat as his most popular form. This little guy, most people don't even know Ratbat. Like, even like the standard like Transformers fan does not know Ratbat. Now, originally why this happened was because Soundwave was originally supposed to be down and out with being exploited by Ratbat and the Functionalists, and this is backed by Ratbat, showing bigotry towards beast formers, so like Ravage and Laserbeak, and of course, Soundwave hangs with those guys. Those are his friends, so he obviously doesn't like it. So he's obviously easily recruited by Megatron. And it was also his idea to get the Decepticons arrested so they could get into the council and destroy all this stuff and destroy a bunch of high society places as well. And tying into, of course, the scene where we just see Soundwave straight up just scoop up a spark and then shove it into a new body, this downsizing of Ratbat is a huge karmanized punishment for Ratbat for his bigotry against beast formers. Like, I liked Soundwave before, like, he was so interesting. Like, I liked Soundwave just, like, in his 1984 continuity. But here he is being more awesome, and this is why he's one of the best, because he's willing to go all the way. Prime, along with the Autobots, fight against the rebellion. The rebels are causing massive damage, jammed communications with Iacon, and the Decepticons are giving none of the ground back. Out of options and out of time, Sentinel Prime uses his Apex system in head-to-head combat with Megatron. He blasts Megatron out of sight with one blast. First off, that that art of the Apex armor is gorgeous. I don't know why when I first read this comic I was so impressed by it. I love it so much. You know, it's a full page shot. I love it. But anyway, Sentinel Prime's Apex armor is a reference to a communicative series reissue of Power Master Optimus Prime. Isn't that interesting? Sentinel Prime tells his fellow Autobots of a new route that can be used to fight against the enemy. But it's only when Hound's body gets thrown, hits, and shatters Sentinel Prime's helmet, he realizes that Megatron still functions. I love this scene just because. And just imagine like in a Transformers the movie where Megatron like slowly whimpers to Starscream saying I still function. And I'm just imagining like like Megatron just fall out, just like throwing like I don't know, like Skywarp at Starscream saying I still function. I don't know why this scene makes me laugh. It's just like full, like, just imagine just like throwing a person to get somebody's attention. Just full out throwing somebody just to get somebody's attention. I don't know. I know what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like, oh, I found your secret, and like because Hound's like the eyes of Sentinel Prime right now. But it's just it's I love it. I love it. Don't change. Never change. They fight, struggling for control. As they fight, they discuss Megatron's goal for this world. Now, of course, as I said, they were discussing what Megatron's goals were for Cybertron. Well, Megatron says this: create this illusion and call it peace. You see, this is a paraphrase of the real-life Caledonian chieftain Caligus. I believe I'm saying that name right? Probably not. Who described the philosophy of the Romans he was fighting against. To robbery, slaughter, plunder, they give the lying name of empire. They make solitude and call it peace. Megatron's wording can also reflect on the motto from historical bio, peace through tyranny. With a final strike, Megatron kills Prime. Not fully confirmed though. The other Autobots arrive a little too late, finding Sentinel Prime's body. Prowl assumes command and orders a reluctant retreat. The reason why I said that Sentinel Prime wasn't confirmed dead at the time of reading the comic is because according to Alex Malin, you know, the one of the guys in the credits, Sentinel Prime is not dead, despite all of the appearances. You know, the expression of horror, the washed out colors, indicative of death, and oh yes, not important at all, but the gaping hole in his chest. Going Looney Tunes levels of survival. That's what we're doing. But I can confirm that Sentinel Prime is dead or either greatly incapacitated, because in Spotlight Blur, we are introduced to Zeta Prime, who is Sentinel's successor. So we can assume that Sentinel's either dead or very incapacitated. Sitting on a throne surrounded by destruction, Megatron discussed his victory with Soundwave. Kaon has been taken, and the next step is Cybertron. But when they take over Cybertron, they won't do it as Cybertronians. They'll do it as Decepticons. And that's the end of the book. Now, I really like this ending because it adds so much left to desire. Like, it's, how could I compare it to anything? It's like the ending of the first A Quiet Place, where you see where after they shot the monster and they see more coming on the view screen, and then all you see is the mother, cock the gun and then turn to black. It leaves so much left to desire. Like these people are gonna do more. And I really do like that they ended in this way. And obviously, since it's Origins of Megatron, obviously it's not the end of his story. But it is fun how they left it off. And, before I get into more how I would judge this comic, there are a few other things to note. Okay, so the first interesting scene is the cube that Megatron is holding at the end of the comic. This is actually the data cube that Rat-Bat was forming when he was embezzling all that he could before fleeing, before, of course, the whole thing with Soundwave went down. So James Roberts, who is an IDW comic book writer and is one of my favorites, retconned that Sentinel Prime was a brutish thug responsible for multiple crimes and murders. And Sentinel was also responsible for having Megatron almost killed in his peaceful activist days. Now, this is a very interesting thing to say, because when we look at Sentinel Prime, when he's in this comic, he's a pretty respectable guy. He's just like, I have respect for my team and what we're doing, and we need to do the best what's for Cybertron. So this is an interesting take. So basically, in the final battle, it's not hero and villain, it's villain and villain, because Sentinel Prime has some dark secrets of his own. So we could say that this final death for him is karma almost for all the death that he caused, and almost for killing Megatron. I want to hear more about this, and maybe there is more in the IDW continuity that I just haven't read about. But this is very interesting. Lastly, and kind of the most interesting out of the bunch, is the fact that Trailbreaker was a fugitive and enemy of Sentinel. So why is he seen in the security service? Like, it's not really much else to say, but that's kind of interesting. I really like this comic. It's such a good ending for this 4-part comic book series. Now, does it have flaws? Yes, but it's not really shown in this book in particular. Because if I were to rank it, I would say probably issue 1, issue 4, issue 3, issue 2. And that's really how I'd rank these ones, because there's more problems in issue 2, and I think that's mainly just because it's a bit slower. Even though it's the first introduction we get to Soundwave, it's still just a bit, it's just a bit slower, and that's really it. I don't know, would I actually rank it that way? Maybe switch 2 and 3 around. Go 1, 4, 2, 3. I think that's probably how I'd actually rank it. Because now that I think about it, I can't remember, which one does Bumper die in? I think it's 2. Because I think in 3, that's where Megatron gathers everybody, so it'd be 2. Yeah. But anyways, this is I really do like it. It's on a standard of comics where you rank them from all other comics. I would say it's okay. It's not the best, but it's definitely not bad. It's nowhere near bad. But is it amazing? No. It's good. It's okay. And that's good. It's okay to be sometimes just to be okay. And I really do like these comics so far to be the first in the continuity of the IDW 2005 continuity. This is a pretty good start. So I'm thinking if I were to rate this book in particular, I would give it 4.5 out of 5. Because this is definitely one of the, out of the 4, this one is definitely one of the best. One would be the best out of all of these ones, because it gives a perfect introduction to Megatron, how he was. And this one just really gives the complete 180 of how much he changed in character development. And they never really say it either. They just sort of just show it, like good storytelling should. So I am happy for that, because I always hate when people just like, yes, he was a common miner, and now he is this brutish warlord. You get nothing else about him. Just know that. Just know that. Just know that. It's just, I really do like visual storytelling, and this is a good example of that. So, is there anything else to say? I don't think so. This book gets a 4.5 out of 5 from me, and I guess that is all.